Leo Meyer with my associate commentator for bringing you a new edition of Backstage Buzz. And we have a studio full of wonderful people tonight. Some old friends and old professional associates. And we're looking very glamorous, by the way. We have with us tonight Miss Jane Berger, currently represented on Broadway by I cannot tell you how many shows she's involved as producer, and we're going to talk tonight about her latest venture, which is a play, a musical starring Tyne Daly, called It Should Have Been You, which is a very, very funny play. And ladies and gentlemen in the audience, I want you to meet Jane Berger. Jane, you're on.
Thank you, Leo. Gee, it's great to be back here again. I haven't been here for a while. This is great fun. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me here.
Well, I saw your play, and I loved it. I know there was some problems with some of the critics got a little snooty about it, but I don't. Sometimes you sit and see a play, and you wonder, did they see the same show that I was seeing? You know, and the audience. It's wall-to-wall laughter, the entire show, and it's a musical. It has charming music in it, wonderful songs. Everybody sings very well, and the audience is just jumping for joy. I just was so glad when I saw it. It was I came away a happy person because I had a miserable day the day before, and it just changed my whole outlook. It was a delight, and I know you have very interesting turn of events coming up concerning it. Tell our audience a little bit about
actually,
what's going on.
It is. You're right. It is a musical. It's extremely funny. As a matter of fact, my friend who's in the audience here tonight, who is John Harder, he said to me after he read one of the reviews, he said, "What show did he see?" And I think it's absolutely true because. Everybody goes out of that show feeling really great, and they're amazed. They laugh, they cry, they are touched, they're moved. It's affirming. It's acceptance. It's about love and marriage and family, and
a crazy Jewish wedding.
A Jewish wedding, and it's lots of different weddings all put together and everything else. So, as a matter of fact, because of all that, we have a very interesting thing happening on stage on May 30th, as a matter of fact, after the matinee. And we have friends of mine who were there to see the show a few weeks ago. And it's Matt Harder and Jordan Reich. Am I pronouncing that right,
yes,
Jordan?
That's
okay.
the German pronunciation. Okay. So you're right.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And they came to see the show with Matt's parents, John and Karen Harder. And also, I think your sister was there too, Allison. Yep. They were all there. And they had a wonderful time. And after the show, we knew that Jordan and Matt were getting married, and shortly. And so I'm going to let them tell you how this all came about, except only to say that the minute I heard from Jordan that since she was 17 years old, she had dreamed about being married on a Broadway stage. I thought, aha, this could be it. And so that's how this whole thing started.
Marketing.
Yes. So I'll let you to ask them and let them tell you how this all came about and what we're doing here and what we think will be kind of a really fun afternoon after a matinee.
Mm-hmm. So. Well, Matt, tell us how this evolved.
Oh wow, how it evolved. Well, my dear fiance here, Jordan, sitting next to me, she's been a performer her entire life. Since she could talk, her father put a microphone in her hand, and they had performed together on cruise ships, and she's been born and raised in St. Croix, one of the Virgin Islands. So she
not too much Broadway exposure down there.
Exactly. But yeah, so she's been performing for forever and ever. And it was funny because we saw the play And I mean, we couldn't say enough good things about it. It was awesome. But when we were watching it, we were laughing the entire time because we're saying, "Oh my gosh, this is us! Like this is we're watching ourselves get married up here on stage." And it's so, I mean, even with the parents reminded me of my parents. The bride's parents reminded her of her parents. I mean, it was just one thing after the next was funny.
Very situationally appropriate
Oh, yeah.
for us.
Oh, yeah.
And we laughed and we probably cried a little bit. I don't know. I think I saw a tear fall from your cheek. Yeah, we saw the play and loved it. And actually, Jane was behind the first Broadway show that I saw, which was Kinky Boots, which was a couple years ago Christmas. And Matt and Jane and his parents had surprised me with a show because I had never seen a Broadway show, and obviously always wanted to. It's, New York and Broadway, very iconic, and all of that. So they surprised me with my first show a couple of years ago, and it was, of course, a privilege to see this one. And I guess Jane's little, her mind had been working, and she came to us and she said, "How would you guys feel about doing this on stage?" And I may have answered before Matt when I said yes. But
I don't even think Jane finished the sentence. I
right.
think it was, "Yes, we'll do it.
Yeah.
Count us in. We're game."
yeah, so luckily we are, more of the adventurous type. But I mean, how can you pass up an opportunity like that, especially if it's something that you've been doing for a long time and certainly appreciate. So here we are, and we're excited.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
we've
yeah.
had a couple of engagements on stage.
Yes.
And
Yes.
but we've never had a marriage on stage, so this should be quite exciting. And on top of which, your aunt is a female Episcopalian minister who was the officiant at Trinity Church in New York City during 9/11, and she's going to be officiating.
Yep. She'll be flying in to do the wedding on Broadway, and she's very excited as well
So
about that.
It's going to be quite different. I would
She's
say.
starring rather than Tyne Daly.
So what are the details? I mean, is it going to be afterwards and the public is gone and all your guests are coming in, or is it going to be the people who are at the ticketed theater show?
Yeah. It's gonna be. I mean, we wanted everyone to kind of share in this with us.
So it's a surprise to them.
Yes.
They don't know that they're coming to an
No,
action.
they don't realize that. They'll find out shortly after. Shortly after the.
terrific.
I guess the curtain call will be the announcement that stick around and you'll get to witness this beautiful ceremony
Yeah.
that we're planning here. So.
And we have friends and family that are going
That
to
are
be
also
coming
coming, yeah.
to see the show. We've all said such good things about it, and I feel like once you hear something like that from so many people, you have to see for yourself.
So they're
what
all going
it's
to be
about.
ticketed in the theater.
Yes, they'll be there, but it's going to be primarily the Broadway matinee audience,
Yeah.
Right.
which is,
That's
very,
fun.
Yeah.
it'll be
Something
quite
very-
exciting.
Something
because
different. Something new.
They won't expect.
But
it,
after
won't
they
know
hear
that.
it on Backstage Buzz, of course, you are
We're giving away the secret now.
and you
That's right. Oh my gosh, it's out. It's gonna be. It's going to be out.
And
this
also,
year.
you mentioned that Joe Myers was going to write an article. He's a very good writer, Joe Myers.
Yes, I realize he writes for the Connecticut Post, which is now I guess it's the syndicate. For
It's
all
Hearst Publications, isn't it? And and it gets to a lot of papers.
Right.
And that Thursday section, Go section.
Right. I think
That's where I think it's going to be.
on
Or
the
on
24th, I think, or maybe it's a Sunday. I don't know. I don't know what day is.
There's
Sunday.
two art sections. One on Thursday, it's good, and one on the weekends, it's good. They're both
Great.
good sections.
Well, that's exciting.
Particularly Thursday one is.
It's
Yeah.
wonderful.
It's very,
Thursday.
very-
Leo once had the whole cover. His Barnum play had the cover.
Oh,
Yeah, that was
Yeah, that was
in
great.
full color. It was a great.
It was a great
a
thing.
great experience. In fact, he wants to do the play again.
I think you should do it.
I'm going to have lunch with him next week. We'll talk about it.
You talk about Tom Zingarelli.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
he's-
one-man show on P.T. Barnum, who's of course a great
Great here.
Bridgeport figure.
Bridgeport. Mayor and statesman, circus person, everything.
I remember when I produced Barnum at Darien, and we were up here in Bridgeport because, of course, Bridgeport is the home of P.T. Barnum, and that was very exciting. And
There's this wonderful museum right within walking distance of where you are right now. It's a lot of the Barnum artifacts And in the public library, they have lots and lots of wonderful things too.
Oh wow.
So
Well,
the whole town.
when I researched
town-
the play, the library was absolute wonderful about helping. All you have to do is mention the magic word, you know, and everything was available. It was very thrilling.
I have to introduce Jordan to a lot of this. She's only been in the States.
Now,
from
you've lived
Virgin
in St.
Islands,
Croix
yeah.
then for all these years. That's why you never saw Broadway.
Right.
Yeah, I was born and raised in the Virgin Islands, and my mother was from there, and my grandmother spent most of her life there. And just, you know, I was primarily from a performance background, but obviously the islands are not a place where Broadway is really, you know,
Well,
it doesn't really seep into the
Especially
everyday
St.
life.
Croix. I mean, I was there 35, 40 years ago, and all the
really?
politicians used to go there and stay in Kinneal Bay, you know, to
That's in St.
hide.
John.
And my husband designed all the trails. It's a Rockefeller family, isn't it?
It is. Yep.
He did our whole trail system.
And they
for-
donated a fair percentage of the actual land on St. John to
St.
the
John.
state, so to the territory. So now it's actually St. John is 2/3 national park, so it's protected, which is great.
Turtle Bay. Mm-hmm. See,
Yeah,
I know about that.
mostly just empty, desolate. It's a conservatory for animals and, you know, all different kinds of endangered species, and it's a really great place. I definitely would not have given that up for anything.
So you have public school there? When I was there was so little there in St. Croix that
There are a lot of public schools. I had the privilege to go to a private school, actually, non-denominational private school called Good Hope, Go Falcons. And the school was interesting enough for their principals, but it was actually on right on the beach. And so during the 17, 1800s, it was a cotton plantation. And during the 1960s, it was actually a beach resort. So there were, you know, lining the walls, there were tons of photos of, you know, the black and whites of celebrities who had stayed there. And all the classrooms had like a shower and a bathroom in them, which was a little bit weird. But now it's a school, and they do great things. I remember looking down and seeing sand and ocean when I was in science and math class. So it was definitely a great place to grow up. But you know, when I was growing up, I thought that Broadway was literally a one big huge theater where a lot of people go, and but I didn't know any better. You know, I heard my grandmother talk about it, and I heard my mother talk about her time there, and you know, my grandmother's family had lived in the city for a long time, but they never really had any reason to bring me there because all of our family had moved down to the islands. So I was left in the dark a little bit. I was a little bit ignorant on that.
And now you're finding out what being a star is all
And here
about.
it is, right?
yeah, wow, that's something, right?
Now, will the rest of the cast remain on stage while you're being married by your aunt?
I believe so, but
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely. The cast will be on stage.
And will David Hyde Pierce direct this as well?
That'd be
Because he
great.
did such a wonderful
That would be
job with the
great.
play.
There's the cherry on top, right?
Exactly. I don't know. I'll have to ask him and see. But I know that he's very excited about this and thinks it's going to be a great idea. And as a matter of fact, he's supposed to give us a call and join us on this interview. But I know he's in the air. He's on his way to Washington for just a day or so before he gets back to New York, so he can be back in the city to do some more work, publicity and so forth for the show. And this is award season, and it's a very hectic time, as you know.
Yes, it is.
So hopefully he'll be able to call in and say hello and answer a few questions. But I don't know. He's told me, he said he might be still in the air at this time, so I don't know if we're going to get a chance to do that or not. But at any rate, it's going to be very exciting because the whole cast will be on stage. And
They're going to throw rice and everything like at a real
well,
wedding.
I worry about that because
The ushers have to clean it up.
Right.
well,
Big
I was worried
show.
about rice getting in people's eyes or something. And I don't know. Sounds dangerous, but we'll do something. We'll come up with something. I haven't, Then also there's a cake that's on stage, and it's designed by Ron Ben Israel, who is probably one of the finest cake masters of wedding cakes in New York City, and he has agreed to donate a wedding cake to this couple,
Oh, how
this happy
nice.
couple. So this is going to be very exciting. And
One in
it's
the
gonna
show
be-
didn't look that big.
yes, exactly. And so that's the one. It's about 4 or 5 tiers. It was pretty big.
Was it?
It's just
Maybe the mice got to it. Or the stagehands.
the
Yeah, the
stage
stagehands,
has,
yeah.
yes, or maybe me.
Food has a way of vanishing backstage.
Yes, it's
I did a show one time, a production of Carousel, and Aunt Nettie came out with a tray of donuts. So I said to the prop head, I said, shellac those donuts so they last the run of the show. So wouldn't you know, the stage manager ate 3 of them
With the shellac
before they
and
were
all.
shellac, before or after they were
after
shellac.
they were
After the
shellac.
Oh my god.
They had a nice crunch to them, didn't they? Yeah, exactly. No, but so that should be a lot of fun, and I'm not sure yet who will make the announcement. If it'll be Tyne or it's also starring Harriet Harris and Edward Hibbert is in the cast.
You have an amazing cast. They are
David Burtka's in the
so
cast.
gifted.
And also, I must tell you, well, the other cast members are also Sierra Boggess and Lisa Howard. Lisa
Oh,
Howard
yes,
is
and
really,
sings like a dream.
she sings, she's amazing. And I mentioned David Burtka, and it's an extraordinary cast. It's also written by Brian Hargrove, who is David's husband, and he is a wonderful writer. He's written a lot for television on the West Coast.
He did the book and the
And
lyrics.
He did, well, the book and the lyrics, and then Barbara Anselmi wrote the music. She's written some really very, very wonderful music, and then we have a bunch of additional lyricists who have contributed to the lyrics of the show, and it's we have a wonderful set by Ana Luisos.
I love the set.
And
It's
Ken
charming.
Billington did the lighting. You
My
worked
boy-
with Ken many times.
Oh, yes, indeed.
Ken used to design things for us up at the Darien Dinner Theater, which
Right.
I ran, as you know. And also the Ned Steinberg is the sound person, and he does sound designer, so he designed the sound, and he did a lot of work at Darien as well.
Now, you're the primary producer of this show.
Well, it's Daryl Roth, myself, and Scott Landis and Jane Sherman, and we're the lead producers.
Lead producers.
Uh-huh. And then we have some other co-producers with us who have been very, very helpful and very productive. And Judy Abrams, who is a friend of yours,
Yes,
is one of
yes,
our
Judy's been
co-producers.
here and-
Uh-huh. She's been on the show here.
Mhm.
Exactly. And so it's a wonderful producer. It's a very cohesive group. We're a very big, tight family, and I think that's what makes the show run so well, and what makes it so enjoyable for everybody, because it's
Well,
such
and when you have a
family
good
affair.
combination like that, you hold that together and go on to bigger and better.
Exactly. So we're very excited about having Jordan and Matt with us for that day. It's going to be very
Oh, yeah.
exciting. And also, Matt is from Norwalk. Matt's a Norwalk boy.
Well, where are you
Born and
going on your
raised.
honeymoon after this?
gosh.
Oh my
Are you
gosh.
going to the islands?
Well, I guess what the listening audience can't see is Jordan is pregnant.
That's one of the surprises.
That's one of the
Matt. In this
so-
wedding, anyway.
yeah. So we are due July 8th for
Yeah.
our first child, and
so
it's going to be our baby girl, our firstborn. So I mean, we're we're trying to honeymoon plan, but there's so much other stuff to plan for right now that the honeymoon is
You
slowly.
should give out tickets to the christening.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, I suggested that we have the birth and then the christening.
There we go. The next Jane Berger
But-
production. There it
Maybe
is.
harder.
I mean, we could take this on for quite a while.
Right, milk it for all it's worth.
It's a lifetime commitment. Jim.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
Oh boy, but yeah, we're still.
It's in the works.
It's in the works. You
Yeah.
know, we both. I've dreamed of going to Capri for our honeymoon, Italy, and that's where I would.
That's
love
where
to
we
go.
went, Matt. That's
Is
where
it
Martin
really?
and I went.
did
Yes.
not know that.
Indeed.
I would love to go there. That's,
Oh, it's
that's my
beautiful.
number one spot.
It's beautiful.
Well, you've been there before, so you know what to
Yes.
expect.
Yes.
I have not.
Yeah.
So I'm down for anything as long as I'm not 9 months pregnant at
Yeah.
the time of the trip.
But afterwards, you may not
Oh yeah.
You know?
Afterwards, let's
It's going to get
yeah.
even more
Grandma
complex.
and Grandpa.
Oh,
can-
yeah.
Well,
can
you have your
babysit hopefully.
Exactly.
Maybe
Yeah.
we haven't discussed that yet, but we'll figure something out. We've just relocated here from Virginia after a couple job changes and transfers, and we wanted to be closer to Matt's parents, and wanted the baby to be born up here. So we've had a lot of changes, and now this big, great, wonderful wedding, and so I think that one major decision at a time is kind of what we're thinking. But
Well, it's certainly a unique experience for you,
Yes.
and for all the members of the audience and the cast members. Now, Jane, do you see this happening on a regular basis? This could be.
We'll have to wait and see how this one
Right,
works.
so I'm thinking,
There could be great
Let's see.
continuity here.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, actually, if you go on our website, which is www.itshouldhavebeenyou.com, you can see we promote some of these. We have contests. In fact, we just had a contest that involved people telling their stories about crazy weddings they had either been to or been in or were a part of or whatever. And the person who won is going to have a song written for them by Barbara Anselmi and by Brian Hargrove.
How wonderful!
So yeah,
Then you can put the song in the show.
exactly. So I'll have
Sung
to
by our
see.
little performer Jordan.
oh, yeah.
That's right.
I like the other idea about continuing it into the next part.
Yeah.
After they marry on the stage, then we're going to have I like Leo's
The christening and then the baby.
I think
yeah,
that's
the
an
baby
excellent
shower.
idea.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's a very good
show
idea.
going. So is it judged in this, Tony, is it come through in this batch of plays that were just being considered for next week?
Well, we're up for some awards. We're up for some Outer Critics Circle awards. We were up for a Drama Desk award, and as you know, this is really a people's play, and the audiences have really been taking to this show very, very well, and the word of mouth. I have never heard anybody leave the show saying, it was okay. I've never heard that, and it's either, gee, I had no idea. I had no idea what was coming. I had no idea this was going to turn out this way. It's funny. It's hilarious. I cried. I was touched. I was moved. It's very reaffirming.
I'm
and
surprised by the ending.
And
Oh,
very
that's the best
surprised
part.
by the ending. Yes,
That's
exactly.
the best part.
The real twist comes at
Oh,
the
yeah.
end.
Exactly.
We won't give it away,
We can't
but-
give it away. No. But what's
But it's
amazing
fun.
about that is people have said to me afterwards, they've said, I'm going to come back, I'm going to bring people. And I keep saying, now that you know the twist, would you still want to do that? And they say, yes, no, we're definitely going to do that. So,
No, cute.
yeah, so it's great. So,
So it's People's Choice Award,
yes,
Tony, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Too bad they don't have a People's Choice Award.
Well,
Such a commercial thing, though, that
Exactly.
they probably don't ever leave it to the people to
Right.
make a choice.
Instead, it's all judged by the connoisseur, so to speak.
Doesn't Leo know? He works so many years, so many sets.
oh my goodness, Leo and I have worked together for many, many years and many sets. And,
All those,
oh,
we go way back and
certainly do.
a ton of experiences that could not be duplicated, and I wouldn't trade it for anything.
I
And
know, it's been
you,
great.
You ran that theater for 13 years.
Oh, really?
It's a long time.
One of my next door neighbor was your costumer, Diane Vandercroft.
Oh, yes, of course.
Diane did the costumes.
Oh, sure, she was wonderful.
She's still doing the costumes. She's doing it for the Musical Theater at Connecticut, and she's
Oh,
still
good for
flying
her.
the airlines.
Great.
So
Oh,
I
that's
never should work
wonderful.
for you.
Absolutely.
Live
Give her
next
my
door.
best when you speak to
I
her, when
see
you
her.
see her. Please.
You know, I was just thinking about Leo sending me one time we're in the theater, and he was he gets very irritated when things aren't done properly, and it was a sound issue, and your whole thing. If you can't hear it, the plays. Remember, you always told me that if you miss a word, you're not hearing the play.
You lose the audience.
So he sends me up to the sound person. I'm stupid enough to do it, and you know how they got so insulted, and then they said, "Who's saying that?" And then I said, the gentleman in the back, and then he looks up, he said, Leo, and then, that what takes place after that, hugs and kisses and the whole thing. But that guy was going to floor me.
Yeah, of course.
Tell him, until he found out it was Leo that sent it.
Leo gets away with a lot.
Better he should sock you than me.
Yeah, well, he loved you, but he was so angry at me for speaking to him like that.
Oh.
criticizing, you know.
But it's true. I think it's a big the sound on Broadway is one of the great hocus pocus areas, and for some reason, it's the biggest problem, and shouldn't be. And those theaters were designed for the spoken word before microphones were really in.
Yeah,
And
well, you know, I
it's
think
ridiculous.
I think Nevin has done an amazing job with "It Should Have Been You." I think, tell me if you think I'm wrong, but I think you hear every single lyric,
Everyone.
every
absolutely.
lyric that
And
comes
it's
out.
crystal clear.
Yep.
Yeah, which
Every
is
word.
terrific because it really tells the story. Because of course, singing in a musical is what moves the story along, and you know, so you have to hear every lyric, and if you miss them, you know, you've missed part of the play. You've missed the whole, you know, thing. So. I'm very pleased with the job that Nevin has done.
So Jane, how did you get involved? You know, you never did say. You said you did 13 years directing the Darien Dinner Theater, but you never said, you know, how you got involved before that.
Jane was a performer.
I was a performer.
Well, that's what I want to hear. I want to know how Jane.
No, actually, I was on Broadway and I was performing. I performed across the country and so on. And then what happened was I got pregnant. And
'cause
all of a
that's-
sudden, I couldn't perform for a while. So I had the opportunity. The opportunity fell into my lap when I was offered a position to take over the Darien Dinner Theater. And it was something that I really didn't know. I knew a lot about. I knew about acting, and I had some business acumen, some sort of slight business acumen. So what I did was I called when I was offered the job, or someone suggested I do this. I called. In fact, it was Jimmy Coco who suggested that I do this, and I said, "Don't be ridiculous. I can't begin to do this." He said, "Yes, you can." And I called my friend Scott Griffin out in at the Carousel Dinner Theater, which was an 1,100 seat dinner theater. It was brilliantly run by him, and I said, "Look." I said, I have to come out and I'm going to follow you around for an entire weekend. You're going to tell me everything you know, everything I need to know about running a dinner theater. And that's what I did. And then I came back and I met with the Lotsteins, who were running the theater, who owned and were running the theater. And I said, you know, this is what I think should be done. And the only thing is that if I do this, you'll have to give me control over the entire operation. I figured they'd say no. How silly would that be? So they said yes, and so I was able to.
They even knew less than you did.
I learned pretty quickly, I'll tell you.
But you were Connecticut, right? You were always living in Connecticut at that time and New York.
I lived in Connecticut and New York, yes.
I know. It's
Yeah.
always been by
Yeah,
polar
by
there.
by state,
By state,
by state,
which is
No, it
tricky
was very-
a little bit.
Yeah, I was very lucky to be able to do that, so I could come and go. That was great.
And Leo did a lot of the sets for you.
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. Great sets. And
We
he always
just-
said, I always tried to tell him it was too expensive, but
Oh no, I
we
would
did
never
the-
match.
Oklahoma, The King and I, West Side
Yes,
Story,
you know, my
Mame,
goodness.
just went on and
all
on.
sorts of many.
It's
many
always
shows.
such fun to do that, and I loved working when she was the director. Lots of times.
So I did direct
She
a couple
directed.
shows too.
You did it all. That's why I say, in a situation like that, it's a bloodbath. You just jump into the deep end of the pool, and you come up with an acceptable piece of work. And Jane had a triumph there for 13 years.
That was great. It was
And-
terrific. So now we're back, and now I'm back on Broadway, which is great. And
But it's easy. Broadway should be easy after 13 years.
Yes, I think so. Yeah,
Darien.
not so much, but we're at the Brooks Atkinson Theater, which is on 47th Street, and I hope that you'll come and see it again, and come visit us, and come see the show.
Oh, I can't wait to come see the show. There's some nice video clips online.
Yeah, you can go on our website, and there
Nice.
are a lot of fun things to see.
Gives you a
A lot
good
of
idea.
interactive stuff, so it's great fun.
And your star is Tyndale is wonderful in the show.
She's
Oh, the
terrific.
cast was incredible.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
The cast was incredible.
And of course, David Hyde Pierce directed the show, and he did a marvelous job. I mean, he is just such a funny person, and he has such a great sense of humor, and he imparts it to everybody. Everybody adores him. He's like the Pied Piper. Everybody follows him. And
Is this one of his first directing jobs?
think so.
it is. It's his Broadway directorial debut. Yes, he's
Because-
directed other things. He directed the show he had been in out on the coast, which was David. Manya, Sonia, Marsha, and Spike.
Oh, that's the one
Oh,
Pat
yeah.
Addis was
Yeah.
involved
Right,
with.
right.
Yeah, but this is his Broadway debut, and it's a musical at that. Not only just a play, but a musical.
He did an amazing,
amazing.
job with it. It's
He's
smooth and
amazing.
slick, and
Well, it's nice. If Leo's happy, it must be very good.
it's very well done.
Yes.
Really.
It's great.
Well, unfortunately, our time has moved along with that, and it's moving along without us, and we're going to have to call this town meeting of the year to a close. But I want to wish our young couple here the very best with this wedding coming up, and may the future bring all good things to you and your happy family.
Thank you, Leo.
And Jane, thank you for coming by. It was lovely to see you again.
Thank you, Leah. It's always wonderful to see you and to be here. I appreciate that.
Dolly.
Dolly, thank
Yeah,
you very
wonderful to
much.
see you again,
Lovely,
Jane.
lovely to
night.
see you. Thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
having me.